Chapter 1683, Venerable Talent. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Chirp, chirp, chirp. A large group of blinking birds that were surrounding a seven-colored cloud were flying around while chirping constantly to warn the invader. Fang Yuan's expression was tranquil, but his gaze carried the trace of a smile. The blinking bird's warning was naturally nothing to him. This species of bird was a desolate beast, but they had low battle strength. They could not cause harm even with such a large scale. Their true power was in speed. Blinking birds were considered the fastest desolate beast. Once their speed erupted, they could escape the sight of a Gu immortal in the blink of an eye, thus having their name. Fang Yuan had concealed his aura and seemed like a mortal, but these blinking birds simply did not attack him. They innately sensed a pressure from the seemingly harmless Fang Yuan. Suddenly, a trace of aura leaked out from Fang Yuan's body. Swoosh! At the next moment, the blinking birds burst forth, disappearing within an instant. The seven-colored cloud that was densely surrounded by the birds was now floating alone. Fang Yuan sighed. He had intended to capture these blinking birds, but these blinking birds had an extremely fast response time, and Fang Yuan was also not highly proficient in concealing his aura. However, it did not matter if they escaped. Even if he subdued the blinking birds, they would not be easy to raise. Their food was the white heaven floating dust that was specific to immemorial white heaven. It was not easy to gather, and a Gu immortal's immortal aperture could not produce them. Fang Yuan slowly flew closer to the seven-colored cloud. I didn't expect to run into a seven-colored cloud soil. Fang Yuan sighed. This thing looked like a cloud, but was actually a kind of soil. Cloud soil. In Langya Blessed Land, Langya Land Spirit had condensed a large amount of cloud soil to form Cloud Cover Continent, which always remained afloat in the sky of Langya Blessed Land. Cloud soil's greatest production area was in the immemorial nine heavens. Naturally, there were also a small number of resource points producing cloud soil in the five regions. A single-colored cloud soil was at most an ordinary Gu material, for example, immemorial yellow heavens yellow cloud soil, or immemorial red heavens red cloud soil. In the present era, the most common single-colored cloud soil in the market was white cloud soil, which mostly originated from immemorial white heaven. Immemorial black heaven also had a lot of black cloud soil, but it was very risky as there were many soul beasts in black heaven. Once the cloud soil had 6 colors, it would be a rank 6-level immortal material. The 7-colored cloud soil in front of Fang Yuan was a rank 7 immortal material, and the value of such a large quantity was very high. After inspecting this large patch of 7-colored cloud soil, Fang Yuan discovered there were many bird nests in this soil, and they contained many eggs. These were the blinking birds' eggs. Fang Yuan was not surprised, as the behavior of the blinking birds showed that they seemed to be protecting something. In fact, blinking birds were extremely cowardly even though they were desolate beasts. If there was even a slight disturbance, they would immediately fly away with their fastest speed. Fang Yuan could incubate these eggs for blinking birds. Incubating desolate beasts was not easy, but it would not be much of an issue to Fang Yuan. However, Fang Yuan did not want to hatch them. Instead, he wanted to use these eggs as immortal materials to use when refining Gu. Blinking birds had quite a strict diet, and it was not easy to raise them. If he were to raise them, he would have to release them to immemorial white heaven from time to time. And this was too troublesome. Fang Yuan had deep pockets and did not care about profits from blinking birds. Ever since he refined the killer move heaven form over a month ago, Fang Yuan had been moving about in immemorial white heaven. On one hand, he was searching for immortal materials in immemorial white heaven. On the other hand, he was refining Gu in his sovereign immortal aperture. A month in the outside world was a long time in the sovereign immortal aperture. Fang Yuan had obtained great success in refining Gu. Man as before, landscape as before, self-strength, pulling mountain, pulling water, dog shit luck, time luck, and others were already advanced to rank 7. He had changed his original Gu refinement plan slightly, advancing luck path immortal Gu with priority. Over these days, he had similarly gained great harvests in immemorial white heaven, obtaining many immortal materials. This was due to the effect of these rank 7 luck path immortal Gu. Besides advancing ranks through refinement, Fang Yuan was also improving Gu refinement techniques. He knew way too many Gu recipes and also knew countless Gu refinement techniques. His refinement path attainment level was at quasi-supreme grandmaster, but he was lacking in experience. Especially in the aspect of refining immortal Gu, he did not have a lot of experience at all. Genuine knowledge came from practice. Over this period of time, he had repeatedly advanced the ranks of his immortal Gu, from which he discovered many of his problems and remedied all of them. At the same time, he also discovered many more Gu refinement techniques that suited him. At present, Fang Yuan had gained a lot of new insight and inspiration on Gu refinement. The success rate of his refinement had also increased by a large degree. There were still continuous earth vein turbulences in 5 regions. Gu immortals obtained immortal materials, and immortal Gu, it was a time of great joy. But after thinking deeply, Fang Yuan still chose to explore immemorial white heaven. If he went to snatch resources of the earth trenches from the 5 regions Gu immortals, he would have to show himself and might very likely end up fighting. Each immortal Gu's advancement increased Fang Yuan's strength by a little, but the degree of this increase was unable to offset the situation from exposing his trump cards in the river of time. He needed time to quietly absorb these gains. Once an intense battle began, his accumulated rank 8 white lychee immortal essence would be expended intensely. Fighting with Gu immortals was much more dangerous than fighting fierce beasts. Although Fang Yuan spent immortal essence when exploring immemorial white heaven, and there were many battles as well, he was relying on heaven form, which had a precise detection ability. If there were beasts that were too troublesome or powerful, he would take a detour. Heaven form's detection range in immemorial white heaven was truly very large, and could even easily discover many concealed beasts and plants. After all, it could even detect hidden grotto heavens. It was natural for it to discover these fierce beasts and plants. The more amazing part was that heaven form did not use even a trace of Fang Yuan's immortal essence. This rank 9 killer move had unquestionable superiority in power. Fang Yuan had already exclaimed praise for it multiple times. Exploring the 5 regions surpassed exploring immemorial white heaven in terms of danger and expenditure, and it was not as good as the latter in terms of benefits. Gu materials and immortal materials emerged endlessly from earth trenches, but these things needed Gu immortals to arrange them properly before storing them into the immortal aperture. Managing an immortal aperture was not easy. Many resources were interrelated or affected each other. As a result, most of the Gu immortals in the 5 regions would sell these immortal materials obtained from earth trenches in treasure yellow heaven. Their immortal apertures had limited space and could not be compared to Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture. Many times the immortal materials they obtained did not suit their immortal aperture's environment. There was another phenomenon because of the unceasing earth vein turbulences. That was treasure yellow heaven's business. More accurately, the transactions between Gu immortals had increased explosively. Treasure yellow heaven was dozens of times as bustling than before. 1. If Fang Yuan wanted any immortal materials, he could totally buy them from treasure yellow heaven. But grotto heavens were different. Every grotto heaven already had a complete and harmonious ecosystem. When Fang Yuan annexed them, it would save him a lot of trouble, and there was no need to consider anything. He could even increase the sovereign immortal aperture's size. His cultivation and Tao marks would also increase by a large degree, and calamities and tribulations could even be skipped. The benefits of annexing a grotto heaven were too great. As for the wild immortal Gu that occasionally emerged from earth trenches, Fang Yuan was envious, of course, but these wild immortal Gu had always been top priority for Gu immortals. Fang Yuan felt it was better for him to directly rob others' immortal Gu from the grotto heavens, since he had great thief ghost hand. Heavenly Court. The large formation slowly stopped. Fairy Ziwei opened her eyes which shined with sharp light. She mumbled, "Soul replacement killer move? Such ingenuity." Before leaving, she gave another glance at Spectral Soul, but did not try to make him surrender. Over these days, Fairy Ziwei had been frequently plundering Spectral Soul's memories, seizing his lifetime's cultivation gains. Fairy Ziwei could not help but admire Spectral Soul's shocking talent, and also acknowledge that in the field of Soul Path, even if Heavenly Court had already put in enormous efforts, they still could not match Spectral Soul. Such a pity that Spectral Soul is currently reduced to a prisoner. It really is a tragedy. He is the most destitute among all the Venerables. Actually, if he had remained dead, his name would have been left gloriously in history. Now he cannot even seek death. Thinking of Spectral Soul, who was still stubbornly resisting, Fairy Z-Wei once again gritted her teeth hatefully. She was sure Spectral Soul still had important Dream Path research results. That was lead soul in a dream. Although Heavenly Court had already deciphered most of this move, it would still be extremely valuable if Heavenly Court obtained it. Unfortunately, Spectral Soul kept on resisting. Although he could not shoulder the entire Heavenly Court Grotto Heaven strength, he was extremely crafty. He would leak some minor information and stall for time. The first time Fairy Z-Wei used Heavenly Court's strength, Spectral Soul was caught off guard, and the pure dream reality seeker physique's information was stolen. But when he recovered, Spectral Soul adopted the strategy of abandoning less important information to protect the true secrets. He was still resisting firmly. But your actions are in vain. We have the advantage of time. The Refinement Path Convention's preparations are already undergoing. Fate Immortal Goo will be completely restored. At that time, Spectral Soul will fall into Fate's tracks and have no way to escape. The future of the Great Era belongs to our Heavenly Court. Fairy Z-Wei thought of Feng Jin Huang. After obtaining the Pure Dream Reality Seeker Physique's information, Duke Long gave these research results to Feng Jin Huang, which could be considered as his first genuine knowledge imparting. Although these research results were someone else's work. 1. Because they needed to use Feng Jin Huang's Immortal Goo, they needed to deduce suitable immortal killer moves for her so that they could resolve the dream realm surrounding Dragon Palace. Fairy Z-Wei spared no effort in deducing the killer moves, even deducing together with Feng Jin Huang. At the beginning, her and Duke Long's goal had only been to help Feng Jin Huang grow slightly faster. But who could have thought that after the deduction succeeded, Feng Jin Huang even found a method to improve the Pure Dream Reality Seeker physique, creating a brand new Pure Dream Reality Seeker physique body with none of its previous flaws. It could last indefinitely. 1. The talent of a Venerable is truly too terrifying. In front of them, even I feel like I am just an ordinary person. Fairy Z-Wei sighed mentally.